Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar. My name is David. I'm the head of sales at PaytestLab, and today I'm going to show you how you can maximize the testing efficiency by using just one test card set across multiple terminals. So for those of you who have been on a webinar with me previously, you know what's happening today. So we're going to start with a very short survey so that I understand to whom I'm talking to. Then you have the option to always raise questions during the webinar. Do so on your navigation bar with the question mark icon, and at the end of the webinar, we're going to address them all. So let me see who's with me today. I would like to understand from you today, how many test cards are you guys using? Are you using 0 to 5 test cards, so not many, 5 to 16? 16 is on average a full test set. Or do you have multiple test sets even, or do you use 50 or more cards, which would be a great reason why you're here with me today on the call. So let's see. I see some people already clicked on the 50 plus option. Expect to have a call invite from me tomorrow. When we are done, we can help you certainly out there. I'm just going to wait a few more seconds to give you more options to choose an answer before I close the survey off. Right, one more response and then we're going to publish this. Here we go. So most of you are somewhere in the range of 16 to 50 test cards. So that means you have at least one full test set card available, and then you use more. It's very common and the way everyone works nowadays. So let's look at the agenda of today's webinar. I'm going to speak first about the PaytestMux upgrade, which we launched. So how we come that the network-enabled multiplexer is now here. Then I'll show you the card library. First in the PowerPoint, and afterwards then we go online and look at it in the live demo. And I also tell you what's the migration path, so you know how you can upgrade to your new version. So the update, most of you know that we previously had a single multiplexer available for contact and contactless, and almost 2 years ago we launched a combined multiplexer which replaced those units, and this combined multiplexer is now network enabled. So the current setup, which most of our customers have and which you are also facing if you are using robots or not, that doesn't matter, is you have one terminal and you use one test card set. And if you have multiple locations where your team are, you need multiple test card sets to share those across different environments. And in our view, we always had the limitation that you needed to have one multiplexer per robot or per environment you wanted to test. And each multiplexer is only capable to have 2 probes connected directly to it. So that means if you are testing one robot, so here you see the robot T1 with a terminal, you need to have one combined multiplexer with 2 probes to cover that environment. And if you have 3 more robots, you needed also 3 more multiplexers. This was obviously very expensive for our customers to invest in, and also everyone needed to have more test cards and more hardware, and it just wasn't easy to manage. So what is the network enablement doing? With the network enabled multiplexer, we provide a firmware upgrade for the exact same hardware. That means you can connect your multiplexer then to your local network, and from the local network through Paytest Hub, we share the cards with the different environments which are on the same network. So that means if you have 4 robots and you have one multiplexer, the only thing you need to add in addition is additional Paytest probes, because those Paytest probes you can connect with network as well. Then you have one multiplexer with 16 cards, or you have 2 multiplexers with up to 32 cards, and share those across all your probes. This makes it super easy for you to scale, because now you don't need to have multiple multiplexers, you just need more probes if you add a second environment. So what are the benefits if you are upgrading to a network-enabled multiplexers? First of all, you can share your cards across multiple environments, meaning you don't need to switch them between multiplexers, you don't need to hand them to your teammates for testing on a different terminals. They can be stored nicely in one place, and through Paytest Probe, you can utilize them in different areas. We reduce the hardware footprint, so you need to have less multiplexers in your environment because one multiplexer can now serve more than one setup. This improves the scalability. It's much easier for you to add just a second robot instead of adding a second robot and a multiplexer at the same time. And it's overall a cost reduction and just helps to improve the way forward. So what's the card library I mentioned before? The new multiplexer has a very nice user interface and gives you an overview of all the cards which are stored in your multiplexer within PaytestHub. This allows you to see the cards which are inserted into multiplexer even if you're not in the office. Now you can manage those cards online. That means you can click on them and you can read what's the card information which is inserted. So all the public information is being read and made available within PaytestHub. You also have the option to give labels to your cards and then write your test cases in a different way. So instead of saying, please activate slot number 1, you can now say, please choose a MasterCard, and then the Paytest multiplexer will just provide one MasterCard, if available, with the according label. So for example, we could use then the MasterCard, which is in slot number 7, or if we have a label on the MasterCard in slot number 5, we could also provision that card to the test case. This gives more options for you to write your test cases, but also how you manage the cards, because now everything is easily accessible in one place. So what's your migration path if you are not yet on the combined multiplexer or not yet on the network-enabled multiplexer? It's very straightforward. If you have the PaytestMux combined, you simply download the new firmware from our help desk and you switch to the Paytest probe instead of the probes you got with your multiplexers, and you're ready to go. So if you are a customer with that path, let me know, and then we help you to get an upgrade. If you are still using the old multiplexers, meaning the PaytestMux Contact and Contactless, we have a trade-in program available until the end of the year, where you receive a minimum value of $2,400 if you trade in your old multiplexers for a new device. So let's get to the interesting part. We're going to go to the live demo. I'm going to show you how this new feature has been implemented into PaytestHub and how you can make the best and the most out of it. We have, for those who are not familiar yet with PaytestHub, this is our PaytestHub environment. You see I'm logged into the demo portal, and today we will use this Car Cloud demo, which is not with me in Zurich, but it is in Slovenia, in Koper, where our development team is based. Now you also see the benefits of testing remotely because I'm not there, but I can still tell you exactly which cards are in those multiplexers. So first, we have now this card library available, and the card library gives you an overview of all the multiplexers which are set up in your environment. If I'm going now into the Card Cloud demo in Slovenia, we can see the multiplexer is there, and we have different cards available for us in this multiplexer. If I'm clicking now on a card, we receive the information which we read with the multiplexer and provide within PaytestHub. So we can see this is a Discover card, is a test set with just a repetition of 10 times the same test case. We're going to run this now on our agent in Slovenia on the environment, which is set up with us with the new multiplexer. And we have the possibility to see how a test case is being executed, either with ADB or with a camera. The only thing which now changed in this test case, which we have been rewriting from a regular test case or from an old-fashioned test case to a new test case, is basically the step where we activate the probe and then we say select label MasterCard. Previously on those steps, you only had one option, and that was to say select port number 1, unless you gave port number 1 a variable, which was a label. But now this is much easier. The label is already assigned to a slot and to a specific card, which you can utilize from this setup. So you see the robot is entering the pin. We see the multiplexer. We see the probe, which is connected. And if I'm clicking on ADB, we see exactly what's happening on the live stream as well. I see there's already a couple of questions coming in. Don't hesitate to drop your questions into the chat, into the Q&A section. I see I'm not, is my audio broken? Is my audio back? Working on, now it's back. Okay, thank you for confirming. Sorry for that. I'll check how much was missing, then we can over voice that afterwards. Great, so if anyone has questions, please drop them into the chat, because that's basically already it from the live demo. Not much has changed with the network-enabled multiplexer. Expect that you now can see the cards online and that the test cases are easier to write and manage with the labels, which are written in this step on that specific test case. So don't be shy and shoot away. Otherwise, I'm going to show you how we previously have been executing tests on a different robot environment. So here we have the T1, where we are running semi-integrated tests. Just going to give this a little reboot while I keep the other environment running for you to watch. Here we go. So we have the live stream of this one, and going to make a duplicate of that one. Benefits are still clearly visible. Now the cards are all stored in one place, and it's much easier to test across different environments. What we could do in this scenario as well is in the demo room we have in Zurich, we have 3 robots available, and we have, I think, a total of 6 multiplexers. And once we update this, we have then only 1 multiplexer with multiple probes as well. So this was the previous way how we got around with the labels. So we gave names to specific parts. So for example, we labeled the part number 1 as RECA, which is a payment interface which is used in Switzerland. And then this slot number 1 was for us the RECA part. But whenever somebody else put a MasterCard part into the RECA part, we didn't know, and then the test didn't work anymore. So now you get around this, because when you remove the card, we know this information, because then it's also no longer visible within Paytest Hub that this card is there. So let me go back to the actual test run from here. We have a first question coming in, which I'm gonna highlight to you and happy to answer. We use the BTT, formerly UL theme now. Can we utilize it? So yes, you can, but we would do that a bit differently. We are fully integrated with the UL BTT with an API integration. So you can then load test cases directly into the EMV level 3 player and use the tests from there. If you would like to use the card simulator from UL, that's also possible. In that scenario, we could use the probe from the SmartLink SmartWave directly on the robot. That works. And also, if you have Smart Connect, you could put that one into the PaytestMux combined, and then split up the signal between the probes afterwards. So there's different ways how we could help you to utilize that. Then we have a good question here, which is, would it work if the multiplexer is in one location, Copper, and your robot is in Zurich? Right now, that doesn't work. So the limitation is that you have to have the probe and the multiplexer on the same network. Now, if you would have exactly the same network within Switzerland and Slovenia, then you could make it happen. But as these are different IPs and different countries, this doesn't work right now. What we have in planning for later this year is an enhancement to the card library, where you can create your own paytest card, which are digital test cards solely issued within Paytest Hub. And those cards are also stored only within Paytest Hub and can then be shared across multiple environments and terminals which are not on the same location. So in that scenario, we could then share the card with terminals in Slovenia and in Switzerland or in other countries as well. Sure, there's more questions from you, so don't be shy and raise them. As we're gonna have a look at what the other robot is doing. So in this setup here, the robot is just next to me in the office. We are testing now on 2 different robots in one environment. We are testing on a T1 here with me in Switzerland, which is a semi-integrated setup, and then we have a second T1 running in Slovenia. And I could also start 2 more robots with me here in Zurich. Then we would test on 4 terminals concurrently, which is a quite nice benefit of Paytest Hub and really one of the main reason of utilizing this all in the cloud. So there's a follow-up question on the digital card. So this will be called Paytest Card, and this should be available around Q3 in 2025. So not so long. We're working on it, and first tests are being done. We certainly keep you updated about the progress which we make on that setup. And once done, we also will host a webinar on that topic. A bit about the pricing situation as well. So previously, the multiplexer combined cost you $12,000 plus the maintenance contract of 20% per year, which is 2,400. If we look at this, if you had 4 multiplexers, you need to have, or if you wanted to test 4 terminals concurrently, you needed to have 4 multiplexers, which was a hardware investment alone of $48,000. And now you need to invest only in 1 multiplexer, and then in addition in Paytest probes. And the Paytest probe is $1,500 plus $300 for maintenance and support contracts. So again, that's 20% maintenance and support, and therefore the scalability is much better. Instead of investing 12,000 for every environment you would like to add, you just invest 12,000 for your initial setup, and then you extend this with Paytest probes depending on your need. It's not every robot will need to have a 3 Paytest probes, for example. So you need 1 for contact, contactless, and 1 for max stripe, but most likely you're not testing max stripe on all your setups. So this is something which you will need to figure out, and which you can then utilize accordingly. Then we have a question: is it possible using multiplexer as physical cards and EMV certification tools like UL at the same time, or it should be in different test sets? I assume this question goes for the EMV level 3 certification. So if you would do the level 3 certification, all the cards would be provided from the test tool from the BTT. You wouldn't use physical cards for that, but you could potentially mix and match. I would need to check that. Then we would use the UL card simulator together with physical cards. This might work. I need to validate if this could be combined and put together in one test case or test run. There's one more Do you have plan to support also standard L3 certification card schemes, Amex, MC, Visa, Discover, UP? So any L3 certification, which you can do with the BTT from Theme or also XUL, or with the ICC Sim TMAT tool, you can run with the robot. So we support any cards which you physically can insert into the multiplexer, but we also support all the card images which are available in those test tools for the certification or for tests. So there's no limitation in what you can insert. Also, if you are a retailer and you use gift cards, which are NFC or contact, and you would like to test them with a multiplexer, that's also possible. The multiplexer is not limited to brands. And also our solution is not limited to testing specific brands. Are there any more questions from the audience? If not, we can look at what our test case is doing. We're almost finished. Also in the latest release, you see it up here, we have a new feature, which is ADB diagnostics. This feature gives us an overview of let me hover here, the CPU usage of the terminal in view of duration of the test run. We also can measure the memory which is used and the battery level. So it's plugged in, so therefore it's 100%, and therefore the battery level doesn't decrease. So if you would do a stress test of, let's say, 100 tests, and you would unplug the terminal, you would see the battery level going down, and you might see some spikes in the CPU usage that would help you with the diagnostics to have a better information about the performance of your terminal as well. We have one more question here. I meant digital card could replace BTT cards. Depends a bit on what you would like to do. If you would like to do the EMV level 3 certification, you will need to have the BTT or the ICC SIM TMAT and their cards which are in the tool to do the certification. So we will not replace the certification tool itself, but if you would like to do card simulation only, if you only utilize that part of the business, you could create those images only within Paytest Hub and use them together with your robot without the BTT. That would be possible. So it's a card simulator similar to other tools which are out there, which we will utilize. We have a question regarding the diagnostics. Is there any relation between this diagnostic report and the test case that might be the reason of the issue? There is. So we are working on a improved user interface. So right now it's a bit hard to read what this actually means. So we will have an overview which test case has been started and which performance it was. So right now you see we have done 10 test cases and we just have one big bar of performance. We will then also show you exactly from which to which time which test case was being performed so that you can go and debug, because right now it's a bit hard to read. And then you will see if a test case fails or you have certain spikes, you can go back and figure out what was happening during that test case and go to the logs as well. So you can then see what was happening in my exact moment at the failure of my test case or at the peak of my CPU usage and go into the debugging that way. So just when this test case is being finished, I'm going to show you the new report as well, which we implemented and have been rolling out just this week. It's a very nice enhancement, which also gives us better overview of the image and the receipts which are captured. Just going to pull up one which I have been running yesterday. So that's the PAX terminal, which we have here in Zurich. You see, we have still the table of contents like we have previously, and then we have a run summary. This gives us an indication that we have been executing 32 test cases in 29 minutes. The overall result is failed because not all the tests have been passed, which is totally fine. It's not a software which has been debugged, so we don't expect this test run to be all positive. And now we can dig into the report and we see each test case and the exact steps which have been executed. And of those steps, we also have images, which we have been capturing either with the camera or with ADB. And we have the receipts as well. So those receipts are captured in different ways. We can either capture them with the ADB extension, we can capture them with cameras as well, so we can print the physical receipt. Or if we have an ECR integration, we can capture them also through the ECR integration, such as 6ML, OPI, Nexo, Linkly, whatsoever. And yeah, this all together builds then our comprehensive report. It's very detailed and adds up to 112 pages in that case. Not everyone needs that level of detail, so there's also a report available just giving a high-level overview about pass and fail. So depending on your use case, you use one or the other. And this one, for example, can also be used as an approval note. So if you have to provide proof of work that a specific firmware has been tested, you can add such a test report at the end to cover for those needs as well. So the test run which we have been running is now finished as well. You see, it took us 10 test cases, took us 50 minutes to do. The overall performance is not unusual, so the CPU usage is always pretty stable, and also the RAM, there's no spikes or decrease in it. And now here I can also download the standard report to show you the difference between the detailed and the standard report to just give you an insight. So this is then less, it's just table of content, the run summary, and afterwards the test case with the just simple with the step that it has been passed, but no detail on the execution command and also no detail on images or receipts. Good. If there are no more questions, I would just raise one last survey for you all to see what kind of further information you would like to receive. Would you like to have a one-on-one follow-up call with me or Nancy to dig into the functionalities again, or how to see how you could implement test automation and robotic solutions to improve your workflow? Or would you like to consider a trade-in offer if you're an existing customer with the old multiplexers and you would like to benefit from the network functionality or some pricing information or other information? Let me know. And then I thank everyone for joining today. It was a pleasure to have you all. So make sure to sign up to our newsletter, follow us on LinkedIn so you don't miss the next webinars, which is going to be in May. And yeah, thanks for joining in today. It was a pleasure to have you all. Have a good day.